I would say that the period when we were most in the escalator business was 1945 to roughly the early 70s. And at that time, economic growth was robust, but it was also very inclusive. And economic gaps were actually diminishing, not increasing. It was also a time, and so what was going on then? There were, tax rates were actually very high. They were, for a while, they were 91, federal marginal rate was 91%. So it was not that there were some low tax rates encouraging rapid economic growth. There were a lot of public investments in infrastructure, both physical and human. So you had interstate highways being rolled out. You also had state colleges and universities being rolled out. You had huge expansions in high school education. High school graduation rates soared. Community colleges were built and provided almost free. There were huge investments in America's intellectual capital, human capital, but also in the physical basis for more rapid economic growth. And I sometimes wonder why it is that today there is so much demagoguery about people of other races or ethnic groups or immigration status, and how it was that in the 1960s we were able to pass the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, et cetera. And I think part of it was that living standards for a lot of ordinary workers, including the white working class, were increasing. So they were feeling a little more willing to be inclusive, to let somebody else in at the table. For Americans born in 1944, at age 30, 90% were earning more than their parent of the same gender had earned at that age. For those born in 1984, that has dropped to half. Women are slightly more likely to earn more than their mothers had earned. Men are less, most men have earned less than their dads did at that age. And when you're doing worse than your dad was at that time, it's much easier to fall prey to demagogues who scapegoat particular groups, who say they're coming to get your job, they're changing your culture. And so that's why we need to get in the escalator business, not only to help those who need that escalator, but for the health of the country as a whole.